So new coach, awesome. New coach social media guide. So this is if you are, since we're recording now, I'll say this again, if you are a newer coach and or someone who prefers to use Facebook, or you're just using Facebook in general, this is what you want. This is a great strategy that you can use when you are in your warm market. This is for people who you already have established trust with. They know you, they know what your personality is like, they know you from some other capacity in your life. So super simple social media plan. You can post something like an inspirational quote or a message, and here's some examples. Then the next post that you make, talk about your workout, what it's like, how you feel before and after your workout. Feelings are talking about feelings that you have from using products and programs is going to be what helps you sell those products and programs to other people. And then third post, talking about your mindset, anything that's shifted with your mindset since you started following the programs. There's some more examples. You can post a healthy recipe and then post your workout feels again, and then announcing that you are a coach and or sharing that you have a group that they can join. And there's examples of a 21-day posting plan in here, along with tips for how to make your photos look great and other things in there. All right, so that's for anyone who feels most comfortable using Facebook. You're using it consistently, or you want to be using it consistently, because that's really the most important part. Whichever social media plan or strategy you're using, what's most important is that you are consistent with it. Okay, now, because consistency is what builds your trust. And then whenever you're writing any type of post, look at it before you click post. Ask yourself, is this post coming from a place of service where somebody who is reading it is going to get something out of it? Or is your post that you're making a like, look at me and look what I'm doing sort of thing? Because you want to get people interested and hooked and know that you are sharing for them to help them. All right, now I'm going to share the other link. And I'll share these in the event page on Facebook as well. Now looking at the social media plan, it says January 2022. This is the same one, the same document that I sent at the end of November when we were doing the December call. So this will help you get in the head of your ideal customer, who it is that you want to help, what words you want to be using in your posts, how you want to be, what things you want to be saying, what objections you want to address. And we're not going to go through all of this tonight, but I encourage you to revisit that if you have not done it already. All right, now let's talk about growing your cold market on Instagram. This is for anyone who has already served your warm market, or I really want to grow on Instagram. Instagram is where I like to hang out. It's where you feel, it's where you feel most comfortable. Your warm market, let me say this about your warm market though, especially as a newer coach, someone who does not have months and years worth of content already created, your warm market is where your money is going to be coming from. It can take a while to grow on Instagram or just grow your cold market in general because people don't already have established trust and you don't already have established credibility with them. But if you are you're making, $500 or more a month, and you're like, I really want to grow on Instagram and connect with more people and more of my ideal customer, not just a bunch of random people on Instagram, this is for you. So you want to connect with someone who's in a specific life stage as you, with similar values and interests. And you really don't want to look like just another Beachbody coach who's posting on Instagram, because I think we can all agree there are a lot of them. So we're going to focus on what makes you unique and what can help you stand out. So if you open that document, the social media plan, January 2022 document, and scroll down to, I'm not quite sure what page this is, but it's after the transformation statements where it says, what makes you unique? These are the questions that are going to help you find your niche. I don't know if you've heard that word before, but that's just a very narrow, specific audience of people that you're talking to. That is what's going to be what helps you grow on Instagram the fastest and brings more clarity to your content. So answer these questions. You can just type it out in your document. What do you love to talk about with friends? What do people come to you for advice about? Great. What topics are you passionate about right now? Some of these things that you're writing down might be redundant. You might be answering some of the same exact things in each question, and that's totally okay. What are you a pro at? Whether that's you have degrees in, you have certifications in, or you've been doing it your whole life, or what you get paid to do. How would you describe your current life stage? Are there any subjects that are really easy for you to talk about? If you were required to start an Instagram account where you were not selling anything, like there wasn't going to be an exchange of money in any way, what would the theme of that account be? And I should have said this already, but this is not like ideally having nothing to do with Beachbody. It could have something to do with health and fitness if that truly is one of those things that you're really passionate about, but does not have to do with anything Beachbody related. And what can you help people with for free that isn't, here's how to follow a Beachbody program, and is really easy for you to talk about, and preferably fun? So maybe you wrote down the same exact thing several times. Great. Or maybe you are stumped. You're like, I don't know. My life is so boring. I'm so average. You are actually not. That's just something that you think, because the things that come the easiest for you are, in fact, so easy for you to talk about that you don't even realize that they're special or that they are unique. So the best way to kind of get some of those juices flowing or make some of those realizations is to ask your friends that you're closest with. A few months ago, I realized that, like, my niche, there's really kind of two that I toggle back and forth between: body kindness and women's health, specifically like hormonal health relating to chronic illness. And because I was learning a lot of those things, I was experiencing a lot of those things. I was putting into practice things relating to both of those two niches. I didn't even realize that that was something that I could help other people with too, until I asked some of the people I was closest with, like Raquel, like, I don't know what makes me unique. She's like, I think that you should talk about this and this more because you have some knowledge there and it lights you up talking about it. So ask your friends if you think that you're just so ordinary, you're not. Um, and they're going to probably tell you the things that you think, oh, that applies to everybody. It's actually going to be the thing that makes you unique. So what I encourage you to do is to try posting about, maybe you have 3 different things. And again, we're talking about like non-Beachbody. We're going to talk about how to incorporate Beachbody in a second. But try posting, creating reels, talking about in your stories about these things that you wrote down and see, or what your friends suggest for you, and see how people interact with that. When you start getting people replying to your stories or leaving comments on your reels or on your posts about it, that's how you know you're kind of in the on the right, that you're on the right track, that you're onto something that can be really helpful for other people. Because what you want to be thinking about is like your content that you're making on Instagram helps people like for free, so that someone can say, I'm going to give you some examples here in a minute, but that someone can say like, oh my gosh, you have endometriosis. You have endometriosis. You should follow this girl, Rachel, and they send one of my posts or my profile. Follow her for tips or info. So whatever these niche categories are, you want to be thinking, how can I share about it in a way that when someone wants to learn more about this, or when someone is interested in it too, that people automatically think about recommending my profile. Okay, so Angel, you are not a plain Jane. It's probably the things that you think are so plain and ordinary about you because it comes so natural for you that actually are going to be unique. So chat to your friends about it. I swear they're the best people for it. Probably not your spouse, because I would just ask your girlfriends or your guy friends. Okay, so here's some other examples of niches that I know that we have amongst our team. So I know one of Kristen McNair's passions is books and reading. So I want you to think about, whether it's books or anything else, don't just share that you're interested in your niche. In Kristen's example, don't just share that you're interested in books and that you read books. Ask yourself, what can you help people who want to be interested in books with? If somebody loves TV series, could they also love reading? How could you fit in reading to your busy life? What are the benefits of reading? What tips do you have on the best way to afford your reading habit? Things like that make people who are interested in books get also interested in reading, get value, get something out of your content about books. I'll use another example. Like if you are somebody who has overcome a lot with your mental health and anxiety, and you feel like that is a passion of yours to talk about, you can share about like what you're learning. Ask yourself, what tips can you give someone who is maybe considering going to therapy? This was actually a niche that I was considering because I see a therapist. I love it, highly recommend it to everybody. And I got some traction sharing about it in my stories a little bit, but I actually did not feel like I wasn't so passionate about it and didn't feel like I knew quite enough to have like content for days and days and days and days on it. But it was one that I like toyed around with. I know Leah loves thrifting. So let's say if thrifting brings Leah so much joy and is so fun for her to talk about, then maybe she can dabble in this and ask yourself, like, okay, thrifting, like what are you finding in stores? Show me what you're finding. I'm not a thrifter, so like I'm curious about it. Like, what are you finding? Why might someone else like thrifting? Why should someone try it? How will they know if there's someone that should try it? How do you know if a store is even worth going into? Because when I think of thrifting, I just think of straight up like Goodwill. And to me, that's unorganized. It's not curated. So that's overwhelming to me. But I know there's some really great thrift stores. So what are some recommendations that you can go to? How can you find some good shops? What are some common misconceptions that people have about thrift shopping? For example, like they think it's all just going to Goodwill only. Another example, I know Laura's niche is being alcohol free. So how can you help? And I know Laura does a really fabulous job of this actually. How can you help someone who is considering whether or not it's something they should try? What sorts of tips and value can you give them? How do you want to make them feel? What tips can you give as you learn and how you experience it in your own life? So that then if I have a friend that tells me, I think alcohol is having a negative effect on my life and I want to try and go alcohol free, guess who the first person I think of is Laura, and sending them, you should follow my friend Laura. She's going to make you feel really empowered and she's going to help you out with it. Just some other examples, like, do you live, your comical life with 4 kids? I don't know what it's like. I don't know what it's like to have 4 kids. I was one of 4 kids, but I don't know what it's like to be the mom in charge of 4 kids. Is it really fun? Like if you feel like that is something that would be so easy for you to talk about and share, and I'm sure has so much humor, and you enjoy talking about that, it brings you joy to talk about it. Maybe that could be something. Or if you're someone that helps moms bring more peace to their life. I think about, Raquel, I was thinking about you today as I was writing some of this stuff. Like you are somebody who I think helps bring a peace and calmness to really busy women. And you have so many great tips on that. I'm going to give a teacher example here in just a minute. But I just want to reiterate that it's really important that this topic excites you. And it doesn't have to be like, again, like your comical life as a mom. Like that is not super unique. But if you are a funny person who is like, oh, it's so easy for me to talk about the crazy things that happen with my kids, then that could be great for you. But this should be a topic that excites you and it feels easy to talk about, because that's how you're going to have not only content for days, but it's going to come across in your energy, in your words, and everything about how you present it. And it's going to be what helps connect you to people and bring new people who share similar interests and values as you into your circle to help build credibility and trust. Your niche is not going to be what grows your business. It's not going to be what provides you the result. Having a niche is not going to be what makes you money, but it is something that can help you get in front of people who share those similar values and interests so that you can build trust with them. Okay, so you do still want to be writing your sales content though, okay? You still want to be talking about Beachbody. We're going to talk about how you can incorporate that. And my favorite way to do that is inviting in my stories regularly, like ideally every day. I got in the habit recently of, okay, if I'm going to post a workout, I'm probably going to invite to my stories. I was kind of inspired by Laura. Like Laura invites so frequently in her stories and very simply. I was like, I can do that too. I don't need to complicate it. And that is, I'll be 100% honest with you. I don't send invite messages. I'm not great about following up either, but I do hit Success Club every month from people reaching out to me wanting to join. And that would not happen if I wasn't selling. I would say every day, but I don't sell every day. If I wasn't selling super regularly, meaning making an offer, like with the transformation statement, if you want to feel better, join my group, or I can help you with this. Okay, so now let's we're going to go back to the social media plan document. And down at almost the very bottom, I think it's like second to last page, the types of posts. You have types of posts that are straight up value. They just speak to your niche. You're not asking them to buy anything from you. You're not trying to make a sale from that post. So there's some examples in that column. This is like tips that your ideal customer needs, or tips relating to your niche. Those examples that I just gave with those example niches. And then you have another type of post where you're making offers, pain point solution type posts with the intent to help your ideal customer solve a problem in their life through joining your challenge group, joining your team, buying a product. And this is the ultimate form of service. And so you're going to use transformation statements. All this stuff is in the how to figure out what that is in the pages above this. If you've done the marketing calls before, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. So your offer posts don't have to relate to your niche. So super simple, they can, but they don't have to. So super simple, I just follow a super simple plan. At least 4 posts or reels in a row is value. What makes you unique topic, relating to your niche, a value that someone in your niche has, or a belief that they need to have in order to join you, and repeating that. And then the 5th post, ideally, I'm not perfect about this, but basically no more than 20% of your content is making an offer, having that ask, a transformation statement. I can help you with this, and it's not relating to your needs. So you're not going to be like, if you are a thrifter and you want to join my group, like those are like unrelated. But Leah will come across as a thrifter. And Leah, I'm not saying this has to be yours. I was just thinking that you've told me that that's something that you enjoy talking about. This awesome girl, Leah, that I follow, who's a new mom and a thrifter. And she also shares about health and fitness and her fitness journey. So here's an example. If your niche, let's say that your niche is helping teachers feel happier. And I was kind of thinking about Jackie when I was writing this. If your niche is helping teachers feel happier, because your niche isn't just teachers, but like, what do you help teachers do? So she could do a reel. You could do a reel on something funny, relatable. It's like a trend, a real trend that has nothing to do with Beachbody that teachers can relate to. Then the next post or reel is, a post-workout reel or picture with 5 things a morning workout improves. 5 things a morning workout improves, how it improves the rest of your teaching day. I should have proofread that. It helps with patience for when your kids refuse to put their shoes on, energy for your 2 p.m. class, things like that. These are great. Like 5 tips for this are great to put over like text for like dancing reels that you make that still make them valuable to your niche. Or you also don't have to dance on reels if you don't want to. And then the 3rd, tips for how to handle a negative parent email. That's how you're going to make a teacher feel happier, right? And then another one, you started week 5 of your workout program, and having a plan to follow and friends to check in with has kept you on track and makes you feel happier before you head to school. Don't underestimate what 20 minutes of you time can do for your mood all day. And then the 5th post, the 5th day or the next post or reel that you make, a transformation statement. If you want to, I know what it's like to feel like X, Y, and Z every day, to feel like this in your skin and this in your body and feel stressed about this. And again, this doesn't have to relate to your niche, but you sure did build a lot of trust and credibility with people in your niche already. My next group is starting on Monday, the whatever day, to help you go from feeling this to feeling this. Drop an emoji if you want more info. So that's a really simple plan that you can follow that should feel really easy for you to come up with content for. When you have these niches in mind, do set aside some time. Honestly, you could do this in 5 minutes, even less than 10 minutes, because there's not a whole lot of trending reels all at once. There's usually like 3 to 5 different reel trends happening at a time each week. Set a timer. I think this is important to do with a timer, 5 to 10 minutes, where you're scrolling reels and you're only thinking about your niche. So let's use helping teachers feel happier. Let's say that that's yours, because you're like, oh my gosh, I used to be so negative and now I feel so much happier and I've learned so much and I have so much perspective in all my personal development, and I can put it to use. Okay, so now I'm thinking about my teachers that I want to help and feeling happier. How can I apply that to any of these trends that I'm seeing? And then there is your next 4 posts, or that's how you can really kind of even decide a week in advance what your posts are going to be. But once you have an idea of your niche that isn't necessarily Beachbody related, it is so much easier for you to create content. I won't go too much more into reels or anything, but you can keep them light, you can keep them fun. If people are sharing them to your stories, that is going to be a really great way for you to get new eyes on your stuff. Also, I think right now they're saying use 3 to 6 hashtags in the caption of your post, of your reel, to get the best reach. And you can just use hashtags, search for hashtags on Instagram that are relating to your niche and that they're going to relate to the posts that you just shared. All right. I hope that was helpful and kind of gives you some ideas for what you can be sharing on social media here in this next month. Real quick, are there any questions? Also, another great place to ask for tips on your niche or what your niche could be is in your team message threads, or people that you see watching your stories and stuff regularly. And again, if you're a new coach or if you have not sold or helped people get started that you know in real life, I encourage you to start with the new coach social media guide, following that plan in there and utilizing your warm market. I truly believe that if you are not selling to your warm market, you will not be able to sell to your cold market, because all your cold market is people who don't know you at first. And then once they've been following you for 3 months to years, then they are in your warm market. But it takes a lot longer than it does for people who know you in real life. So start with that there. All right. That's it. I'll post these links in the event page for the team, and we'll see you later.